Welcome back to Cheap and Cheerful. This week we're talking about Spec Ops The Line, so it's probably going to be a little bit shorter, being that I want to spoil as very little as possible. It's a little tough because the story is the whole reason you should play this game, and I don't want to talk about the story very much, other than to say it's bold, memorable, and something you have not seen in a game before. It is in no way your standard modern military shooter, and that is a great thing. I really wish more games would take risks like this because they just knocked it out of the park, at least in the story aspect. The shell for this excellent story is a pretty competent third-person cover shooter. It's not breaking any ground, but it's also solid mechanically. The weapons aren't really anything crazy, but there is a spread across various types. There is one overpowered shotgun near the end, but it's overpowered in such a way that it's pretty fun to use. The controls are a little fiddly. The fact that I couldn't get the controller prompts to turn into keyboard prompts made it tough at first to learn the controls on the fly. A lot of checking the settings to see which controller button was mapped to which keyboard button. Just a minor annoyance, really. There are nice little touches, like a slight time dilation when you get a headshot, and some nice interactive moments with the environment that occasionally are required in sort of a linear scripted fashion, but other times are just available if you notice them and can certainly help you out in a firefight. The game world is well put together, varying nicely from expansive outdoor vistas with dizzying drops to claustrophobic, dark interiors. You're never in one sort of place too long, and while it is a lot of brown, it's set in a desert, it's got good splashes of color, and the levels don't feel like you're rehashing too much. That being said, it is pretty linear as far as progressing through each level. Occasionally you can flank or head up the middle, take the high ground, take the low ground, but for the most part you're locked down pretty tightly. So I'm sure you've already guessed how the wrap-up is going to go, but we'll do it anyways. Money-wise, this game goes on sale often enough, at least 3 or 4 times a year, that it's worth waiting to pick up until then. But in the meantime, avoid watching any playthroughs or walkthroughs. Obviously this game really isn't in the media anymore but nevertheless, avoid spoilers if at all possible. Time-wise, it's not hugely long, not short, 6, 7, 8 hours maybe. Replayability, you can go back and play again making different choices. The choices are one or the other, so 2 playthroughs would be all you need at most. Personally, I'm not into that, especially with a story like this. I like to do it the way I want to do it and leave it like that. I don't want to messing with that perception of how the story was in my head. There is co-op campaign as well as multiplayer, but it's worth your time just for the story, and you got to play it all to get all the story. And if it's in your backlog, move it to the top of the queue. It's worth it. So Spec Ops The Line, solid mechanics, excellent story, definitely play it. This has been Cheap and Cheerful. Thank you for watching, and as always, you can find more at youtube.com/CAC Games.